You apply for the job and nothing happens. Not a rejection, not a callback. Just silence from a system that processed your resume and decided, in under 3 seconds, that you didn't qualify. The posting said entry level. It required a CISSP, 3 years of SOC experience, and familiarity with at least 2 SIEM platforms. You have a CompTIA Security Plus you studied for at night after shifts at a help desk that doesn't count. You apply to 47 jobs in 6 weeks. You get 4 automated rejections and 43 silences. One posting responds to ask if you have experience with CrowdStrike Falcon. You say you've done labs on it. They never reply. This is what invisible looks like. Not hostile, not cruel, just processed, filtered, and discarded by a system that measures risk, not potential. The penalty for being new to cybersecurity is that the system is designed to keep you new. What changes at the next level, and the level after that, and what happens when the system can't afford to ignore you anymore. Level 1, the aspiring beginner. You don't have a job yet. That is the level. You're studying at night, running home labs on a laptop with 12 browser tabs open. Try Hack Me, YouTube, a Reddit thread from 2022 that someone said was still accurate. You've passed Security Plus. You're 2/3 of the way through a course on ethical hacking. Your resume has a project section. Nobody has looked at it. Company behavior at this level is not indifference. It's structural. Applicant tracking systems filter resumes before a human sees them. The keyword algorithms are tuned for experience, not promise. You don't have enough keywords. The job that says 0 to 2 years experience required was posted for legal compliance. The internal candidate was identified 3 weeks before the listing went live. You are not competing for the job. You are providing the appearance of competition. Recruiters don't message you. You send them connection requests on LinkedIn. They accept. They don't respond. The cybersecurity community online is warm. Discord servers, CTF competitions, people who will spend 2 hours helping you understand a concept for free because they remember being where you are. The corporate world is a locked door with no handle on your side. Those two realities coexist, and neither cancels out the other. The fear you carry at this level is specific, that you started too late, that the golden era is over, that the people who got in 5 years ago got in because it was easier, and now the requirements have doubled, and the salaries haven't kept up, and AI is already replacing the entry-level roles you were training to fill. Reddit threads confirm this fear, and also deny it, and also confirm it again, depending on which post you read last. You close the laptop at 1 a.m. You open it again at 1:15. The hidden truth of this level is that cybersecurity was never truly entry-level. Insiders know this. Entry-level cybersecurity is mid-level IT, is a consensus view, not a fringe complaint. Companies want people who can do the job on day one with minimal supervision and limited risk. You are not that person yet. The system isn't broken. It's just designed for someone else. What gets you out is not the cert. It's the cert plus the home lab, plus the GitHub, plus the persistence that makes you legible to a recruiter who is looking for someone with lower risk than average. That takes longer than the course advertised. Level 2, Help Desk, the IT janitor who sees everything. You got a job. It is not insecurity. It is resetting passwords and fixing printers and responding to tickets about screens that are unplugged. Your title has IT support in it. Your colleagues in the security team, whose desk you can see from yours, do not introduce themselves. Company treatment at this level is transactional. Do your tickets, hit your metrics, close 85% of cases same day or your manager sends a report. You are not viewed as a security professional. You are viewed as infrastructure maintenance. The help desk is the part of IT that exists so that people with more expensive problems don't have to deal with simple ones. The thing nobody tells you is that you can see things from help desk that the security team misses. You watch people click on phishing links in real time. You reset accounts for people who reuse summer 2024 across every system. You notice the vendor laptop that gets plugged into the internal network without a conversation about it. You mention this to your manager once. He tells you to document it in the ticket. The ticket is closed the next morning. Nobody reads it. You're studying after your shift ends. You come home, open Hack the Box, work through a machine for 2 hours, feel like you're getting somewhere, and then fall asleep on your keyboard. Your coworkers ask why you're tired. You don't explain anymore. Recruiters for security roles don't message you. You have IT support in your title. Their filters don't surface you. The fear at this level is different from the level before. It's not, I'll never get in. It's, I'll get trapped here. People spend 3 years at help desk, 5 years. They become comfortable, which is its own kind of stuck. You watch someone on the team get promoted to junior SOC analyst. You update your resume that night. You add everything you've touched in the last 8 months. Active Directory, VPN troubleshooting, endpoint reimaging. You apply. You wait. What changes at the next level? And it is not what you expected. Level 3, Junior SOC Analyst, the human filter. You are staring at a SIM dashboard at 11:43 p.m. on a Thursday. The shift is 8 hours, 4 more hours to go. There are 340 open alerts in the queue when you started. There are 312 now. You have closed 28. The queue has refreshed 28 more. You are running in place in a system that generates alerts faster than a person can process them. This is the job. Companies view the junior SOC analyst as alert triage labor. You are the human layer between noise and the senior analysts who handle actual incidents. You close false positives. You write the same incident note every time. User clicked simulated phishing link, retrained, ticket closed. You escalate when something looks different. Sometimes the L2 analyst is annoyed you escalated. Sometimes they're annoyed you didn't. You learn to guess. You guess wrong sometimes. There is no consistent rule. Manager treatment is metric-based. Tickets closed per shift, average response time, escalation rate. Your numbers appear in a weekly report. You don't see the report. Your manager sees it. Occasionally he says, "Good week," or "Response time was a little high Tuesday." That is the feedback loop. Your pay is somewhere between $45,000 and $60,000. You're on rotating shifts, nights, weekends, holidays. Your circadian rhythm adjusts to nothing. Reddit threads from SOC analysts call it frying their circadian rhythm. Insomnia is described as a byproduct, not a side effect. You start checking your phone when you wake up at 3 a.m. just to make sure nothing happened. Then you're awake for an hour. The emotional reality is a specific cocktail. 95% boredom, 5% panic. Most shifts are routine. One shift is not. You escalate an alert that looks like a lateral movement attempt. The L2 analyst takes it, comes back 20 minutes later. Good catch. That's all. 2 sentences. You go back to the queue. There are 290 alerts. The fear here is layered. I'll miss something. That one stays. AI is going to replace me before I level up. That one is not paranoid. Burnout rates at this level are measured in months, not years. The average Tier 1 analyst lasts 18 to 24 months. Some burn out by month 2. The industry knows this. Nobody has fixed it. Recruiters don't message you yet. Your title is junior. Your experience is thin. The market for junior SOC analysts is narrow. Companies hire them because they need warm bodies to close tickets. They know you'll leave. They're not wrong. The hidden rule at this level: you are not being trained. You are being used while you train yourself. Level 4, Mid-Level Security Engineer. The first time you matter. Something shifted. You can't point to the exact moment, but you stopped asking whether an alert was worth escalating. You started knowing. Your SIEM queries got faster. You wrote a detection rule that cut false positives by 30%, and your manager sent it to the team. That was the first thing you made that outlasted your shift. Company treatment changes here. You're now the person L1 analysts escalate to. You're in meetings with IT and DevOps. Someone calls you our security person in a conversation with a vendor. You correct them internally and decide not to correct them out loud. It's close enough. Your manager trusts you with projects now. SIM tuning, firewall rule reviews, participation in vendor evaluations. You're on call. Your phone has the PagerDuty app. The first time it fires at 2:47 a.m. on a Sunday, you are awake in seconds. You don't fall back asleep. You watch the alert resolve, close the laptop, stare at the ceiling for 40 minutes. Salary has moved. You're at $80,000 to $100,000, depending on company size and location. You started getting LinkedIn messages this year, not flood level, once or twice a week. Recruiters say your background is interesting. They are recruiting for junior roles that pay less than what you make. You decline, but you save the message. The Dunning-Kruger Valley is real, and you're in it. You know enough now to understand how much is out of reach. You talk to a senior engineer about a cloud misconfiguration you found. He walks you through the full attack chain. You had found the door. He shows you the building it opens into. You sit with that for a few days. The fear shifts too. I'll make a mistake that causes a real incident. That one starts here. Not I'll miss something. Now it's I'll cause something. The difference is the weight. Before, you were catching problems other people created. Now you're configuring things that other people depend on. One wrong firewall rule, one untested change in prod at 6 p.m. on a Friday. You've seen how it goes. You start double-checking things twice. A senior engineer named Priya tells you once, "At this level, you still get the benefit of the doubt. Spend it carefully. You don't fully understand it yet. You will." Level 5, Senior Security Engineer, the person they can't replace. You've been here 7 years total, 3 at this company. You know where every skeleton is buried. The legacy system that runs on an unsupported OS, the application that's been exempt from security patching since 2019, the firewall rule that nobody can explain, but everyone is afraid to delete. That knowledge lives in your head. It is not documented. This is not an accident. Company treatment at this level is deferential. Your manager needs you more than you need him. When you say something in a meeting, the room considers it before moving on. You get pulled into architecture discussions, incident war rooms, vendor negotiations. Someone from the C-suite CCs you on an email about a security tooling decision. 6 months ago, that email wouldn't have reached your layer. Salary is $130,000 to $180,000, depending on company, location, specialization. There are stock grants, bonuses that mean something. The math of leaving starts to look different. You calculate what you'd walk away from if you switched. The number is real enough to notice. Recruiters message you every week now. They use specific language. "I was impressed by your background. We've been looking for someone with exactly your profile. I'd love to connect." You respond to some of them. You meet for coffee, hear the pitch, go home, and stare at the comp package they sent. You don't accept. Not yet. The stock vests in 14 months. The pressure at this level is not the fear of making a mistake. It's the fear of knowing what's wrong and not being able to fix it. You submit a security architecture proposal in March. The budget review is in April. In May, your manager says the project has been deprioritized. You know what's not getting fixed. You know what the exposure looks like. You check your email on a Saturday morning because there was a breach at a company with a similar stack, and you needed to see if your org was vulnerable. You were right to check. You were also right not to tell anyone you checked. Over half of cybersecurity professionals at your level check work email right before bed, often or always. You know this because you are one of them. Your phone is on the nightstand. It's always on the nightstand. Level 6, Incident Responder, the one they call when it's already burning. Your phone buzzes at 3:18 a.m. The message says 3 words, "War Room, now." You are awake before you finish reading it. This is not willpower. This is conditioning. Your nervous system has learned to treat 3 a.m. phone buzzes the same way it treats the smoke alarm. Immediate, involuntary, fully conscious, in seconds. You've been doing this long enough that the adrenaline arrives before the thought. Companies have a specific relationship with incident responders. When things are calm, you are invisible. The budget discussions don't mention you. The executive deck has no slide about your team. You sit in the building like a fire extinguisher, present, important in theory, and entirely unacknowledged until needed. The moment something breaks, the dynamic inverts. Executives join calls at 3 a.m. The CEO is on a Zoom with no jacket. The CTO asks you directly, "How far is it spread?" The room waits for your answer. You've been in this room before, literally and metaphorically. You know what a real incident smells like. You triaged 47 hours straight during the ransomware response 18 months ago. You slept 4 hours on a cot in a conference room. When it was over, HR sent a form about taking PTO. You didn't respond to the form. The adrenaline during an incident is real. Then the incident ends. The report goes to the board. The post-mortem gets written. There is a review of what you could have caught earlier. There is not a review of what you actually did. That asymmetry is the shape of this job. Hypervigilance becomes your baseline. Not a clinical diagnosis, just a permanent background hum. You check news on vacation. You hear about a breach in your industry, and your first thought is to map it to your company's architecture. You've been to 3 concerts in 4 years. You checked your phone at all 3. The fear here isn't missing an alert or causing an incident. It's the next one is coming, and the next one is always coming. The interval between incidents has gotten shorter. The attacks are faster, more automated, harder to attribute. You know this because you've seen the last 6. The thing ex-Mandiant responders say in interviews is consistent. It was only after I stepped away that I realized how much of an impact those years had on me. You have not stepped away. You understand the sentence anyway. Level 7, Red Teamer, the one everyone wants to be. You are sitting in a client's conference room, explaining why you got domain admin in 11 hours. The CTO is looking at you like you did something wrong. You did not do something wrong. This is what they paid for. Red Team is what the outside world thinks cybersecurity is. Hacking, exploits, social engineering, methodical penetration of systems people believe are secure. The glamour premium is real. Non-security professionals find your job interesting in a way they don't find SOC work interesting. Someone at a dinner party asks what you do. You say, penetration tester. They ask follow-up questions. This doesn't happen to the compliance analysts. Company treatment of red teamers is a specific contradiction. You're respected for your skills. You're also asked to justify your existence in budget meetings in a way that defenders are not. The SOC is a cost of doing business. Red team is an optional line item that gets cut when CFOs need 12% back. You know this. You structure your findings reports to maximize business impact language, not technical detail, because your audience isn't engineers. It's the people who decide whether you get to exist next year. The billing pressure in consulting is real. Utilization targets, client hours, deliverable timelines. You finish a report, fly home, have 3 days before the next engagement. The report took 70 hours. The client expected 40. You billed 40. The status inside the industry is high, but contested. Blue team looks at you with something between respect and resentment. You get to break things without living with the consequences. You find the gaps, they fix them. You write the report, they get the overtime. The dynamic is understood by everyone and unaddressed by most. The fear at this level is technical obsolescence. Tactics evolve faster than most things in security. An offensive technique that worked 6 months ago may be detected by every major EDR now. You have to keep learning not to stay current, to stay relevant. The day you stop learning in Red Team is the day the juniors start quietly doing things you can't. The hidden rule. Being the person who breaks things is only valuable if the people responsible for fixing things are willing to listen. Often, they are not. Everything before this was about proving you belong. Everything after this is about deciding what you're willing to become. Level 8, Security Architect, the trusted adult in the room. Your decisions live in the infrastructure for years. The IAM framework you designed for the platform migration 2 years ago is still running. It will run for 6 more. You are not directly touching it. You are being consulted on 3 new projects while it runs without you. Company treatment shifts to something different here. You're not managed. You're consulted. Leadership doesn't assign you work. They bring you problems and ask what should be done. Your name is in slide decks as a stakeholder. You sit in meetings where engineers 2 levels below you present designs, and everyone in the room looks at you when the presentation ends. That attention is heavier than it sounds. An architecture decision made wrong today is the root cause of a breach 3 years from now, when you may no longer be at this company. The blast radius of your mistakes is long, deferred, and hard to trace back. You know this because you've traced other architects' mistakes and found them at the origin. The political dimension of this level is significant. You're navigating competing priorities between security, product, infrastructure, and the legal team. Everyone wants the architecture to fit their constraints. The constraints are not compatible. You make a recommendation, someone above you overrides it for budget reasons. You document the override. You file the documentation. You wonder if that's enough. Executives care about your opinion now. This is different from being respected by peers. The CISO refers to you in board presentations. A VP from product asks to sync before a major launch. 3 years ago, security was a gate they passed through. Now, it's a design input. Total compensation at this level runs $160,000 to $230,000. The recruiter calls are specific now. Direct messages about named roles at named companies. Sign-on bonuses appear in the conversation. You have leverage you didn't have 3 years ago, and you're still learning how to use it. The fear here is cascade. One bad decision, and the investigation eventually finds the architecture review you signed off on. You've seen it happen to other architects. The word responsible appears in documents in a new way at this level. Level 9, principal or staff security engineer, the one who wrote the thing that runs everything. There are 11 engineers on the security team. 3 of them have worked here longer than you. None of them do what you do, and they know it. The detection engineering pipeline you built processes 4 million events per day and flags approximately 200 for human review. That ratio took 2 years to tune. The junior engineers don't know how it works in full. The documentation is incomplete. This is not entirely your fault. It is also not entirely an accident. Company treatment at this level is a kind of reverence that has a practical basis. You're irreplaceable in a measurable way. The cost to replace your institutional knowledge is not a salary multiple. It's a program setback measured in years. Your manager understands this. Leadership understands this. You understand this. You are in meetings as a technical authority in rooms that used to have no technical authority present. When the CISO says, "I want to understand the detection coverage before the board presentation," you are the person who answers. When a vendor demo tries to oversell capabilities, you ask one question and the room shifts. You have the thing that can't be bought, context. At FANG scale companies, this level corresponds to L6 or L7. Total compensation can reach $400,000 to $700,000 depending on equity timing. At enterprise companies, the number is lower. The floor is still comfortable. The golden handcuffs are not metaphorical. You've calculated what walking away costs in unvested stock. You've done it twice. You stayed both times. The isolation at this level is specific. Fewer peers. The conversations you can have with people who operate at the same level are rare. You go to a conference and there are 3 people in the room who do what you do. You talk for 4 hours. You exchange contact information. You reach out 2 months later. They respond 6 weeks after that. Everyone is busy. The thing you don't tell junior engineers. You've been doing this for 12 years and you still have imposter syndrome. Not about your skills, about whether any of it is enough. The field is designed to make you feel like you're 1 day behind. That never stops. Level 10, CISO, the scapegoat with the best title. Your calendar from Monday to Friday does not have a single hour without a meeting in it. That started 8 months ago, and you stopped noticing 4 months ago. You have complete authority over the security program. You set strategy, you own the budget, you present to the board. You are the most senior security professional in the organization. You have not opened a terminal in 14 months. Company treatment of CISOs is uniquely paradoxical. You have a seat at the table, which means you have visibility into every risk and authority to address none of them without negotiation. The executive team wants to be exempt from security policies. The same executive team whose behavior creates the highest risk access patterns in the organization. Empowering you means constraining them. The vote on that trade-off is not conducted by you. The statistics around this role are uncomfortable to read if you're in it. 88% of CISOs report moderate or tremendous stress. Average tenure is 26 months. 48% say work stress has damaged their mental health. 32% say it damaged their marriage. 23% turn to medication or alcohol. You know people for whom these numbers are not statistics. They're biographies. The blame equation is precise. 10,000 prevented incidents equals 0 recognition. 1 breach equals your career, potentially. 58% of CISOs report being personally blamed when breaches occur, including when the breach exploited a tool that was supposed to prevent it. The tool's failure is your failure. The vendor's liability does not transfer. The board's choice to accept the risk does not transfer. Your signature is on the security program. Your name is in the news. There's a joke that's been circulating in CISO circles for years. The outgoing CISO leaves their replacement 3 envelopes. Envelope 1, blame your predecessor. Envelope 2, blame your team. Envelope 3, prepare 3 envelopes. The joke persists because it describes something real. Your salary is $220,000 to $500,000 plus equity and bonus. The number on paper is extraordinary. You are on your phone at 11 p.m. reviewing a draft incident communication plan because something triggered a potential breach indicator, and you want to know what you're walking into tomorrow. Your spouse says nothing. This is not the first time. The board doesn't want security. They want insurance that looks like security. That sentence will follow you to the next role and the one after that. The cycle. Right now, somewhere, someone is taking their first CompTIA Security Plus exam. They have a home lab. They have 47 bookmark YouTube videos. They have a Reddit account and a Discord username, and a plan that involves 18 months to break into the field. They think security is about tools and techniques and certifications and getting in. They don't know yet that getting in is the easy part compared to what comes after. They don't know about the SOC shifts at 3 a.m. They don't know about the firewall rule nobody can delete. They don't know about the war room or the post-mortem or the board meeting where someone asks if you should have caught this sooner, and you say, the early indicators were present, because you can't say what you're thinking. They don't know that the field will teach them to see risk in every system they touch, their car, their bank, their hospital, and that the seeing doesn't turn off when they close the laptop. The applicant tracking system will process the resume in under 3 seconds. The cycle continues.